Okay, so tonight I want to talk about something that I see people doing quite a lot, which is just unnecessarily overcomplicating things, okay? So, from a premise, weight loss is simple, okay? You do some combination of decreasing your intake and increasing your output, okay? Now, whilst, yes, it's simple, it's not easy. And I'm not saying it's easy because it isn't. However, what I do see is people making it harder than what they need to do so, okay? So I'm going to give you a few examples. And what I see mainly is people focusing on specifics whilst forgetting fundamentals. And a couple of very easy examples with this would be, what is the best fruit to eat? People would be like, oh, what's the best fruit to eat? Or should I eat white rice instead of brown rice? And they do this whilst consuming 1,000 calories more than what they're supposed to be doing. So it's focus on the specifics while forgetting the fundamentals. It doesn't matter which you eat, whether you eat a banana or a strawberry or white rice or brown rice, that makes no difference. You're eating too much food, period. So, and that's what I want to get into tonight, just focusing on specifics whilst forgetting the absolute fundamentals. So, let's look through a few examples. Portion control or calorie counting, doesn't matter. High carb versus low carb, doesn't matter. Bananas versus strawberries, doesn't matter. White rice versus brown rice, doesn't matter. Potatoes versus sweet potatoes, doesn't matter. Keto versus vegan, doesn't matter. Zumba versus HIIT, doesn't matter. Running versus swimming, no, guess what? Doesn't matter, okay? Because in the grand scheme of things, the difference between these is minute, especially if the fundamentals are in place, okay? Because it's all individual. We know that the number one sort of factor in successful weight loss and weight loss maintenance is adherence. What can you do consistently for a long time? And that is different for each individual person, okay? So, like I said again, and this sort of comes down to the fundamentals. So, this is a random number that I put out of my head, but I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be far off, that maybe 95% of people just need to focus on the fundamentals and do them for long enough, and that will be enough for them to get their results, okay? So how can we do this? Focusing on three major things. Number one, pick the diet or the way of eating that you prefer, okay? Doesn't matter which, okay? Any. Paleo, vegan, vegetarian, keto, high carb, low carb, whatever. Doesn't matter. Pick the one that you prefer. Number two, find some way of controlling how much you eat. Be that calorie counting, doing portion control, doing intuitive eating, whatever. Do the one that you prefer. And third, find some way of increasing your energy output. Okay? And again, doesn't really matter. Just do the one you prefer. Gym, running, swimming, jogging, aqua aerobics, spin, Zumba, going for walks, playing sports. Again, do the one that you prefer, the one that you're more likely to do on a consistent basis. And I'll show you why this matters. Because all of these work, okay? All of them. The something versus something, they all work. Every option that you can choose will work, okay? But it comes down to what you can do consistently. Because, for example, you could come to me and say, right, the absolute best way for you to get the optimal results is for you to do a ketogenic diet and for you to do lots of long distance running. Now, for me, that would suck. That method is terrible because A, I love carbs and I love eating things like ice cream and cookies, and B, I despise going for a jog. So I would be much better off doing the less optimal option and doing that more consistently because I would do it more often. Okay, now there are no optimals, like I said, it's just an example. But you need to pick what works best for you, the one that you can do more often and more consistently, and preferably not hate doing, okay? Because, like I say, it all comes down to fundamentals and consistent action. So, like I say, I think 95% of people, if they do the fundamentals consistently, that will be enough for them to get their results. The problem, they don't do it consistently and they don't do it for long enough, okay? Now, what I mean by this is we're talking week in, week out. You don't have to be 100% perfect all the time, but, be 80% perfect. But you need to do this week in, week out for at least a year or two. And if you can prove that you've done that and you still haven't got your optimal results, then maybe we can talk about the specifics. But only then, okay? So, to summarize, pick the food, eat the foods that you enjoy. Eat the foods that you prefer eating, the plan that you prefer eating, the diet that you prefer eating. Pick the kind of activity and the exercise that you most enjoy and you will more likely do often. I could tell you to go to the gym 5 times a week, but if you hate it and you'd much rather go for a jog 5 times a week, fine, do that. I'm not, obviously going to the gym is good, doing some weights is good, but if you're going to hate it, just do some running. Do what you prefer. Just move. Find any way to move. Okay, just move more than what you are now, okay? And finally, pick the methods, the habits. Just do the one that you're more likely to stick to a consistent time, because adherence is the key. It's what you can do consistently for a long time, okay? So hopefully you got some value from that. Sorry, fly buzzing around my head. If you did, please feel free to like, comment and share. I always appreciate it. Have a fantastic evening, guys, and I shall see you on the next video.